At dawn on June 19, 1944, in the vast blue emptiness of the Philippine Sea, the Imperial Japanese Navy believed it was about to reclaim its dominance. Aircraft roared from carrier decks, engines thundered against the humid Pacific air, and admirals stood confident on their bridges. This was supposed to be the counterstrike that would crush the American invasion of the Mariana Islands. Instead, it would become the day Japan's carrier power was shattered, and it would happen in part because of one American submarine waiting silently below the surface. Just 5 days earlier, the aircraft carrier Shokaku had departed Tawit-Tawit anchorage in the southern Philippines. She was no ordinary ship. Nearly 850 feet long, she had launched aircraft during the attack on Pearl Harbor. She had survived Coral Sea. She had endured years of brutal naval combat. Now, as part of Vice Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa's first mobile fleet, she represented one of Japan's last hopes. The fleet was formidable on paper: 9 carriers, 5 battleships, including the massive Yamato and Musashi, cruisers, destroyers, a powerful armada assembled for Operation A-Go. The objective was simple and desperate: destroy the American carrier fleet supporting the invasion of Saipan. If Japan lost the Marianas, American B-29 bombers would soon be within range of Tokyo itself. But the Japanese Navy of 1944 was not the same force that had stunned the world in 1941. Many of its veteran pilots were gone, lost at Midway and in the Solomons. Fuel shortages forced ships to burn unrefined crude oil. Training programs were rushed. Experience had been replaced with urgency. Unbeknownst to Ozawa, American submarines were already positioned like silent sentinels across the Philippine Sea. Admiral Charles Lockwood had anticipated Japanese fleet movements and deployed his boats in a scouting line. Among them was USS Cavalla, a brand-new Gato-class submarine on her very first war patrol. Commissioned in February 1944 and commanded by Lieutenant Commander Herman J. Kostler, Cavalla represented the cutting edge of American submarine warfare. She carried 10 torpedo tubes and advanced radar for her time. Her crew of 72 had trained relentlessly for this moment, though none could have imagined how quickly history would find them. On the night of June 17th, Cavalla's radar picked up distant contacts, multiple ships, large ones, moving fast. Kostler faced a difficult decision. He could attempt an immediate attack or surface and transmit a contact report to the fleet. He chose the latter. Risking detection, Cavalla surfaced in darkness and radioed the sighting of a major Japanese task force. That message confirmed for Admiral Raymond Spruance that the decisive battle was imminent. 2 days later, just before 11 a.m. on June 19th, Cavalla's sonar detected fast-moving propellers. Kostler raised the periscope briefly and saw it. A massive aircraft carrier, flight deck crowded with planes, turning into the wind to recover aircraft. Escorts circled protectively. It was Shokaku. The range closed rapidly, 5,000 yards, then 3. Destroyers prowled nearby, searching for submarines. Kostler had only seconds at a time to expose his periscope. The torpedo data computer calculated angles, speed, bearing. Everything had to be perfect. At 1,200 yards, the moment came. Fire 1. 6 torpedoes streaked from Cavalla's forward tubes in an 8-second interval spread. Immediately, Kostler ordered a deep dive. Seconds later, the ocean erupted. One explosion, then another, then a third. 3 torpedoes had struck home. Aboard Shokaku, chaos erupted. One torpedo ripped into her boiler rooms. Another ignited aviation fuel stores. A third crippled critical systems near the forward elevator. Fires spread rapidly through the hangar deck, where aircraft sat fueled and armed. The carrier began to list heavily. Meanwhile, Japanese destroyers unleashed depth charges on Cavalla. Explosions shook the submarine violently. Light bulbs shattered. Insulation rained from overhead. The temperature inside the submarine climbed past 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Carbon dioxide levels rose. Men stood sweating in darkness as depth charges detonated around them. Above, Shokaku's fate was sealed. Aviation gasoline vapors accumulated below decks. Around 2 p.m., a catastrophic internal explosion tore through the carrier's hull. The armored flight deck buckled. Secondary explosions followed. Within minutes, Captain Hiroshi Matsubara gave the order to abandon ship. At 3:01 p.m., Shokaku capsized and sank. Of her crew of more than 1,600 men, over 1,200 perished. Below the surface, Cavalla endured hours of relentless depth charging before the Japanese escorts finally withdrew to rescue survivors. When Kostler finally surfaced at dusk, fresh air flooded the submarine. The crew had survived. The broader battle that day became known to American aviators as the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. Japanese air power was decimated. Over 600 aircraft were lost. 2 fleet carriers, Shokaku and Taiho, were sunk by American submarines in a single day. Japan's carrier aviation would never recover. The destruction of Shokaku symbolized a complete reversal of fortune. The carrier that had helped launch the attack on Pearl Harbor was destroyed by a submarine from the nation she had once underestimated. The hunter had become the hunted. Cavalla would complete additional patrols during the war, but her first would remain legendary. Lieutenant Commander Kostler received the Navy Cross. The submarine earned the Presidential Unit Citation. Today, USS Cavalla survives as a museum ship in Texas, a silent reminder of what 72 determined men accomplished beneath the Pacific. In the vast scale of World War II, the sinking of Shokaku was one battle among many. But on June 19, 1944, 6 torpedoes launched from the depths helped end Japan's dream of naval supremacy. And from that moment on, the Pacific War would never be the same.